Do you want to know what happened next?
That afternoon, Naomi sat inside her office, staring blankly at her computer screen. Unread emails filled the monitor, but her mind was elsewhere. Then suddenly, her phone buzzed. A voice note from her best friend, Miriam. Naomi pressed play absent-mindedly. "Naomi, I don't know how to explain this, but lately when I look at you, you don't feel present anymore." Naomi's fingers slowly tightened around the phone. Miriam continued, "You help everybody, but it feels like you're disappearing emotionally." Silence. Then softly, "I'm worried about you." Naomi quickly stopped the recording. Her chest tightened painfully. Because hearing the truth out loud somehow made it impossible to ignore anymore. Then another message arrived immediately after. From church leadership. "Naomi, we're counting on you this Saturday." She stared at the message. Longer this time. And for the first time, the pressure didn't feel holy anymore. It felt crushing. Saturday evening. Church conference. Crowds. Music. Lights. Responsibilities. Naomi moved through the building, helping everyone, while people praised her constantly. "You're such a blessing. We can always count on you. You're so strong." Each compliment exhausted her more. Then suddenly, someone grabbed her arm near the hallway. It was a young woman from church, crying. "Naomi, how do you stay strong for everybody all the time?" Naomi opened her mouth to answer, but no words came out. Because for the first time, she realized she didn't know anymore. The room suddenly felt hot, too hot. Her breathing became uneven. The noise around her blurred. Then, without warning, Naomi walked away quickly, straight into the empty church bathroom, locked the door, and finally broke down completely. Naomi cried harder than she had in years. Not graceful tears, not quiet tears. Pain. Raw pain. The kind she had buried beneath responsibility for too long. Then suddenly, she whispered something she immediately felt guilty for saying. "I'm angry." Silence filled the bathroom. Naomi covered her mouth instantly, ashamed. But the words kept coming. "I'm tired of carrying everybody." Tears streamed harder now. "I'm tired of pretending." Her breathing shook violently. Then finally, the deepest truth escaped. "Does anybody even see me anymore?" Silence. But strangely, for the first time in years, her prayer felt honest. Later that night, Naomi sat alone inside her parked car outside the church building, emotionally emptied. Then, slowly, her phone rang. Miriam. Naomi almost ignored it, but answered weakly. "Hello?" Miriam's voice was gentle. "Where are you?" Naomi looked toward the glowing church building, then quietly whispered, "I don't think I know who I am anymore." Silence. Then Miriam softly said something that changed everything. "Naomi, being needed is not the same thing as being loved." Naomi stopped breathing for a second, because suddenly, years of exhaustion finally started making sense. And deep inside her, something painful began waking up. The next morning, something unusual happened. Naomi ignored her phone. Not forever, just for 1 hour. 1 single hour. No church messages, no responsibilities, no fixing people, no pretending. She sat quietly near the window holding a cup of untouched tea, while sunlight spilled softly across the room. And for the first time in years, the silence did not feel empty. It felt necessary. Then, slowly, Naomi whispered something she had never allowed herself to say before. I matter too. Tears filled her eyes instantly. Not because she was healed completely, but because after losing herself for so long, she had finally begun hearing herself again.